Hello, Reformers, and welcome back to Prophecy of Pendor. Now, when we left off, we had just purchased a couple more bakeries, I suppose you could say, and we also completed a knighthood order quest. Unfortunately enough, it appears as though we will not be able to join the knighthood order just yet, because of course, apart from, I think, requiring a qualis gem, which we do have, we currently do not have enough renown. As we can see here, we have an honor rating of 8. I believe we need 10 to 20, is that correct? Something like that. And as you also can see, we only have 126 renown, which is terrible. So I have decided it would be a good idea to participate in some larger scale battles. And as we can see here, we have Count Otto, who is going to be at the mercy of Jarl Fossard and Earl Sigemund. So we're going to hope that we will be able to do something here. There we go, we'll let those guys go in first, and we'll then help out. So, 262 versus 134. We do have a nighttime battle on our hands right here, and we ourselves do not necessarily have the greatest setup right now. As we can see, our allies are only 56 while we have 27 of those. Not really happy about that, even though we do bring a rather considerable amount to the battle. I really would have appreciated a little less of our units to be on the battlefield, because obviously the lords do regenerate their troops at a very fast rate in comparison to ours, at least. So we're gonna try our very best here, and wow, my horse is already being focused down by something. Well, that's not news, is it? No, it's not news at all. Now, do bear in mind that these Vanskry warriors are apparently counted as infantry, so we are going to have to check out what's going on with that and have to change their tag around a little bit there. And we're now going to be seeing what's going on here. So let's get our infantry at the front. Archers a little bit behind. Unfortunately, the other lords' units will not abide by my orders, so they will just have to do their own thing, and we're just going to do ours, and hopefully that will put us in good stead. Now, we are, of course, going to be using our cavalry to really devastating effect, hopefully. And that is, of course, to bring these guys over here and have them follow me. I think that maneuver that we accomplished in the previous episode was, well, actually quite remarkable. It seemed to do some good damage. Don't you agree? Well, whatever the case, we are going to be attempting to do something similar to that this time around. Unfortunately, wow, it actually appears as though their cavalry is now being a little more adaptive, which I have to say is a little bit worrying, considering most of them have lances. I am distracting them rather sufficiently, though, as we are now able to quite easily maneuver around and, well, maybe do some damage to these guys here. Yes, there we go. A Ravenstern Highlander has fallen before us, and we will now be very careful of their pikemen too, because our horse is almost defeated, and at least our infantry is fighting back there. Our horse is going to go down, of course, and we have no more worries, well, with having to try and attack people. Oh, yes, there we go, 29 damage. Not bad at all, if I do say so myself. And maybe we can do something else here. Well, oh no, this is not good at all, in actual fact. Oh no, here we go. They have axes. They have the similar axes to what we are using right now. Come on, take them out. We really don't have enough power strike to deal damage to these very heavily armored units just yet. Hopefully we'll get a little bit more as we level up. And that reminds me, I think we actually had a large amount of companions that required level ups, and I did not do that just yet, but do not fret, it doesn't matter. They do gain experience still, so it's not really too bad. Oh, we are getting in a pretty bad spot here, I have to say. They do have a lot of Ravenstern rogue noble knights, which I have to admit is the main reason for our issues here. I have taken one of them out, thankfully, but unfortunately we are now being swamped by a huge amount of them, as we can see. Yes, as you can see right there. But, thankfully enough, we are now getting reinforcements. Wow, our allies really are quite useless. I have to say that I'm just really quite disappointed in them right now, because it seems as though they've lost so many. I have no idea why, though, because we distracted their cavalry for such a large amount of time. Well, not really large, but in the grand scheme of things, in a battle, 5 or 10 seconds can seem like an eternity. But it appears as though they did not capitalize on that, so we will have to deal with the ramifications of their, well, failure, I suppose. It's not really failure because they are still perfectly fine, but as you can see, we have thrown almost the exact number, actually, yeah, almost the exact number of enemy units as we have defeated, so it's really not very good, I have to say. And we have lost many of our own units as well. As you can see, 12 of our own units have been eliminated, and I have to say that that's terrible. So hopefully we'll be able to see a little bit more action as time goes on, but maybe Count Otto was the problem here, because obviously he had an overwhelming amount of rogue noble knights, and I thought to myself, they might be an issue, but, well, I decided to attack anyway, so I suppose it's not really all that bad, but I have to say that I'm a little bit more wary of those when we see them in the future. So let's be a little more careful when it comes to unit compositions. Obviously the Ravenstone are known for having excellent archers, but not so much cavalry, so I was thinking to myself, well, maybe they are more of a low-tier cavalry where their armor is not as good, or their weapons or skills, but it appears as though they are just as dangerous as, well, the Fierdsvain rogue noble knights, as you can see there. So it appears as though every faction actually has access to cavalry as long as they are nobles. But there it is, nevertheless. We have gained 9 renown, which is, I suppose, okay. And there's 12 of our own units being taken out. And the rest of them are perfectly fine. Well, technically, they are perfectly fine anyway. Okay, so there we go. We have improved our relations with Jarl Facade, as well as the Fierdsvain themselves. And, yes, there we go. Okay, so now are we going to be speaking to the other fellow? No, it appears not. Okay, well, we did just head in to help this guy. We are going to be using this helm now as well. Actually, are we? Well, it looks a little bit more in keeping with what we are currently using, as you can see. This is a little bit better, in my opinion, at least. And, oh no, I don't want to take all of this. I just want to take these. There we go. And, yes, that's good for me. And is there anything else I want to do here? Not particularly. That is actually a very nice axe if it was one-handed, of course. Yes, of course it's not one-handed. So, yes, we'll let all of our... Wow, okay, they took a lot from that, that's for sure. So let's see what we can do here. We're just going to be taking all of these to sell. Thank you. And we have advanced to level 17. So doing these battles with our Marshal, which I did not mention is Earl Sigemund right now. And let's see what we're able to do here. So Maiden Scouts, Pendor Recruits, a couple of Fierdsvain Axemen, and some light infantry there, Vanscree Warriors, which reminds me that I need to change their tag. So where is that? They are currently archers. Probably not a good idea. Not entirely sure why they are archers. Well, Fierdsvain Huskarl there, very nice to see one of those. A Maiden Adventurer, of course, is going to be added to the ranks. Very nice. And a D's. Now, let's see here. What do you have? Well, he really doesn't have anything apart from Horse Archery maxed out, and Weapon Master. So let's go for another bit in Strength, and we'll give him some more in... Well, a little bit more in Power Strike, I suppose. If he runs out of arrows, then I suppose it's always good that he is deadly in melee combat, just as he is in ranged combat. He seems to be quite the capable horse archer, after all. And Anson has now leveled up as well, which well, I gotta say, I'm not particularly a fan of his, but we are going to try to level him up just as we would anyone else. Let's give him a little bit in Power Strike so he can maybe get a couple more kills. And as a result, get more experience, of course. And there's Donovan, oh yes, and there is his 21st point in Intelligence. And I do think that Trainer is going to be the way to go there. And we are also going to be, I think, apart from Tactics, which I think is utterly pointless right now, because obviously we need 2 levels of the skill to increase our battle advantage. So other than that, we're just going to be going for a point in Iron Flesh, make him into a bit more survival-focused unit there as well. We do now also have Leslie, which, well, she's not my favorite person right now, but we're going to be adding a couple of points to her. And, well, yeah. I really don't know. I don't really want to give her medicinal skills. We already have 2 companions that do that. Well, not 2 companions, but myself and a companion are also doing that. She has 5 in trade, which is good, but we have 4 in trade, so it is somewhat pointless, I suppose. So let's see here. Well, she has riding. She doesn't have any trainer skill. She's only level 3. It's kind of pointless. So let's go for 2 points in Iron Flesh and Power Strike each. See if she can get a little bit more in terms of damage. At least she can be somewhat useful, I suppose. And we do need to give her a shield as well. So, well, let's see here. Well, she's currently using some terrible, terrible things. So let's give her that. And let's give her a one-handed... Really? Oh, yes, 9 strength. Of course you can't use anything, can you? Well... Let's see. Yeah, no, she cannot actually use anything that I am giving her. Absolutely nothing. Even the sword with 9... Well, axe with 9 strength requirement. That's really quite sad. So we're just going to be giving her a dark round metal shield instead. And a sway-backed courser. There we go. Now she can be a little bit more useful, I suppose. And now, where's Leslie? There we go. Okay, cavalry, thank you. And we need to change Eddies to cavalry archers, technically, but cavalry will be fine. Adonia is also doing reasonably well. Does she? Yes, she actually has some very good strength. So I'm going to be giving her that axe, because that has a bonus against shields, and we need all the help we can get. Okay, that sounds good to me. And wait a minute, is that shield actually any good? Well, we could give her this. Nope, she doesn't have enough shield skill, unfortunately. But we are going to be attempting to use that ourselves at some point. Okay, so we have leveled up twice, in actual fact. Wow. So, another point in charisma it is, and another point in leadership and prisoner management. Fantastic. Now, what else do we want to go for? Well, if we want to be completely even, then we should just go for agility, but that is, in my opinion, well, somewhat pointless, isn't it? So I think we'll probably start going for strength to get us a little bit more in Power Strike. Our Power Strike is actually 5. I think it's just that I need to hit with the correct angle, I suppose you could say. So let's go for another point in Intelligence instead, because what we want to do is go for some more pathfinding, maybe go for some trainer. Well, start going for some trainer. Maybe I should go for some trainer right now, but we do have some very good training companions, so it really is not particularly necessary. Well, that's difficult, isn't it? Well, we could start going for some shield, I suppose. Let's do that, because we definitely want to start being able to use the higher level shields. Obviously, the Noldor shields that we will hopefully eventually get will be able to give us a good amount. So, let us head on, finally. Goodness me, that was a lot of inventory management. I do apologize for that, but, well, you need to do it, and it is rather interesting some of the time to be able to take a look at some of these things, and, well, oh... Yes, there we go. Okay, so yes, one of you did actually say that this is a bug. Your spotting skill is increased by 1. Well, that's actually not bad. Our spotting skill is now at... What is it? Where is it? Spotting? 7. It's now at 7. Okay, that's a little bit too much in my opinion, but, well, what can you do? So, we're going to be just continuing onward with our marshal here. I was actually hoping that he may participate in a siege, and we may be able to get a look at that, because I think we have actually entered a siege once before, but it was very short-lived because, well, I was eliminated very, very fast as we entered in one of the first waves. Never a good idea, that's for sure, especially against the Ravenstern, which we are now going to be attacking by the looks of things. I think Misthorn Keep is our target. And so we will be moving on over here. He's going to give me a task, isn't he? He's going to give me a task like, oh, you know what? Yes, go over there and scout that useless village that has nothing to do with anything. Yes, that's probably going to be the case, but we're going to do it anyway because we want some relation with the Fyrdsvein. Not entirely sure why, I have to say, because, well, we are a mercenary with them. It is not particularly necessary to have relation with them, because we are going to either create our own faction when we see the opportunity, or we are going to become a vassal of someone else's and create our own faction through that. That is probably the easiest way, after all, you know, renouncing your allegiance and all that kind of thing. But we're going to see what happens at Misthorn Keep. I'm going to speed things up a little bit here. And who do we have? We have Lord Odavakar, who is over there. And that is definitely not how you say it, but nevertheless. Yes, he has a name, and that's how I'm saying it. Ooh, this would have actually been a very nice fief for us to even try to take ourselves. Ah, I wish I had looked at how many units they had in here, but I suppose it's not all bad, because while they do have a minimalist garrison, they do have a lot of archers, and we know how incredibly difficult they can be to deal with. So, without further ado, let's try not to get killed instantly, because Raven's turn. Yes. I wouldn't be surprised if I actually get headshot while my shield is up, because their arrows go round corners. Well, no, wait a minute, that's the Noldor, isn't it? Yes, that is the Noldor, so we don't really need to worry about the Raven's turn too much, although they are destroying my shield pretty badly, as you can see. So I need to be a little bit careful here, and I actually need to charge our units in. That would be a good idea, wouldn't it? Yes, charging our units in. Fantastic. Siege 101, when everyone is holding position, getting bombarded by a huge amount of arrows, stand still. That's the way to do it. That is the way to win. So I advise all of you to do the same, because I know what I'm doing. So, copy me. Yes. If you can't tell, I'm joking, of course. Do not copy me in any way, shape, or form. I have never said I am, well, any proficient at this, but, well, I do get myself into some rather entertaining situations, I suppose. So let us continue our efforts here. I am very hopeful that not many of our units are going to be included in this. Actually, 15 of them are. Oh, that's not too good. Oh, Sir Roland. Was that Sir Roland just falling off the ladder there? Oh, well. He seems to be bouncing rather well when he hits the ground. Oh my goodness, yes. They are very amusing, I have to say. Okay, so, yes, Lord Hrothgar the Fat was actually getting a couple of kills there. Could he get in there? Could he actually squeeze through there? Well, who knows, but it seems he was a deadly warrior. So that's actually good to know. I'm a little bit worried about not being able to get in there and get some action, to be honest, but there's only 13 units so far that have been eliminated, which is actually really quite sad, I have to say. I'm hoping that we'll be able to, well, penetrate their lines and maybe do some vicious strikes against them and maybe some hard damage. You never know. But obviously, this is exactly the issue with, well, Warband siege mechanics, and one of the things I am hoping for in Bannerlord, I haven't spoken about Bannerlord for quite some time in actual fact, but one of the things I am actually hoping for is destructible environments, and hopefully an increase in the opportunities and variety that siege mechanics currently do not offer, because as we can see right here, this is, yes, this is the siege. This is the siege right now. And sure, it's not perfect by any means, and it may be somewhat accurate to what many people did back in the day, but is it really strategically sound? Not particularly. But what can you do? What can you do? I suppose destructible environments would make a huge difference to the entire thing, because place a bomb here, shoot a catapult rock over here, and destroy this wall. Ah, yeah. That would actually improve things quite a bit. And I have to say, it might remind me a little bit of the original Red Faction games, because they allowed you to destroy walls and actually terraform the environment to suit your needs, and you could actually make your own tunnels. So you could go through the environment however you wished and attack your opponents from any direction, which would actually be fantastic. If you can imagine me taking, let's just actually say that I have 20 Noldor nobles, which of course I do not, and it's going to be quite a time until I actually get there. But let's just say I had 20 Noldor nobles, and I decide to take those guys through the tunnel that we have breached in the castle walls, and take those guys while our main force is attacking at the front, and take them through and attack from behind, and actually decide to do some damage from the flank. That sounds like a good plan to me anyway. So, yes, that's one of the wishes that I have for Bannerlord, but I have no idea whether they are going to be deciding to do that. It is quite a tall order, and I don't know really whether they're going to be deciding on that. But whatever the case is, I can only hope for it. And maybe some small AI improvements as well, but obviously we do require some siege diversity, and that's why many of the mods in Warband have actually done a very good job in that. I can name Gekukujo as one of them, actually doing something dramatically different, where you rush through the actual town of the enemy and slaughter as you go, and I really did appreciate the mod creators' work on that. And of course, a couple of other mods also do the same thing, so that is very, very nice, I have to say. Well, obviously with different siege layouts and everything, but I think that Bannerlord could definitely go leaps and bounds ahead of what we currently have with Warband. So, well, we can only hope, can't we? And there we go. We have completed the Marshal's quest, and we will now be waiting here for some time and resting up somewhat. Maybe we will stay at Misthorn Keep just to see whether there is a little vassal that decides, you know what, maybe I want to take Misthorn Keep from those blasted Fjerdsvein. Ah, well, maybe he will, maybe he won't. We'll see in due time, but for now, I will end this episode off here. I thank you very much for watching, and I will see you next time.